Hello and welcome. My name is Ligia Mora. I'm part of the product team at Crawford Technologies, and today I'm going to be taking you through a demo of DocMD, a tool which allows you to scan websites for its content and check the various types of documents for document accessibility compliance. When you first get into the tool, it displays the last overall scan that it did and its results. And we'll get into this in a little bit. But first, I want to show you some of the main settings under the configuration and settings for this tool. Within the settings, you have different options, and one of those are the roles and the users. What the roles and the users do is it allows you to assign different permissions, different levels, different groups of people. And why this is done is because obviously for the permissions for the users, obviously you want to have some of the users to have administrator rights, others to have just simple operator rights, and you have the ability to control those. But also within the same group of people or the same users, you can actually group them together. And here you can see I've only created two types of users, the super admins and the operators. And you can have different levels of different permissions assigned anywhere in between. As you can see, you can create a role for those. Now you can group those together, and this is very useful because you might have a certain part of a website that is managed by a group of people, and you might want to just assign those users to that specific group and only to that particular area on your website. And you can imagine you can have different departments or different areas for different groups or different users that you want to group, and you can group them in whichever order you want. When you're creating groups, you can have a simple groups with just simple functionality, organizational groups, or just maybe projects for certain projects that you have around your organization. So it's very, very flexible in terms of what you can do with your users, how you can assign them, and the types of permissions. Now, when you get down to the settings, this is where you're going to be configuring your periodic verification or searching or web crawling, if you will, of a website. And obviously the first thing that you're going to have is you're going to have a URL or a domain. Usually you have domains and subdomains that go together, and that's what you will enter here. And what happens then is you also want to make sure that you set it up to have your scheduled scans. And what this is you're going to be scanning a website or a URL or a group of URLs that are associated to each other to be checked every certain amount of time. If you've never done this, probably you'll want to do this maybe every other week, maybe once a week, depending on how often or what you're doing or what measures you're taking to make your content accessible. And what this does is it'll be checking everything on your website, because once you've made all your documents accessible and compliant, it's not just a once and done thing. You want to make sure that after you've reached that level of accessibility where all your documents are compliant, that it stays at that level. And you never know who's going to be uploading documents or who's going to forget to make them accessible before they're publishing them. So you want to make sure that you're checking this on a regular basis to maintain that level. And the settings are pretty self-explanatory. You specify the date, the time, whether you want to do it once or twice a month, the day of the month that you want to do this, the time zone, etc. So these are the configurations the configuration settings where you're going to tell it where you want to look, how often you're going to look, and the breadth of that scan. The depth limit is what determines that. And this is basically stating how further down or how much down into the actual website do you want to check for documents. What this means is, for example, you have a landing page, you go to a website, you have that landing page. That's the first level or the first depth. Then you click on a link on that URL, and it takes you to a sub-level of that URL. That's your depth limit of 2, or your second level. And you can imagine, and so on. Now, what happens if you don't define this depth? It would be an endless loop, because there's going to be so many links. It could be linking to other pages that are not your responsibility, that you don't manage. And then from that web page, you could have other links, and it goes on and so on. So obviously you want to have a limit. Most of the times organizations have a pretty good idea within how many depths they're going to have all their content. For the content, you have various types of documents that you can check for. If you want to check for all of these, you just select all of them. And that means that from this point on, it's going to be checking for all those types of documents. Now, this is where you set the like I said, the periodic scan, but there's another very useful tool that goes with it, and it's the ability to do user-initiated scans. What these are one-offs. So these are very useful because when you are first starting off and you're making your content accessible for the first time, you want to make sure that you're checking this, and you don't have to have that periodic scan set up to do it every day. So what happens is you set up your main scan, and then from here you create a new scan. And this is instant. You can, if you don't set up a date and time and you just leave it like that and you enter the URL, then you actually launch the scan at that point, it's going to be a one-time scan. And that means that you're going to get those results immediately. And that's what these are. These were user-initiated scans. Now, once you've set those up, you can actually take a look at the results for each of these. And let's take a look at the last one that I ran, which is just was a test, my test number 19. One thing to consider is when I first got into the tool itself, when I logged in, I had similar results that I was showing you, and those were the current scan. The results for the current scans are the latest, the last scan, the last overall scan that was run, or scheduled scan. The results are pretty much the same. So you will have a site summary, the audit details, exploring remediation. So when I take you through these settings, they're pretty much the same as the current scan or the last scheduled scan. The first thought right off the bat, it gives me an overall results. It's showing me the types of documents that it scanned for and the results for each of those. As you can see, it tells me the total number of documents that it found, the EPUB, Excel documents, PDFs, etc., and how many of those were audited. If I want to look at the audit details, obviously I just click on the audit details option, and now it's giving me much more information about those documents, what it found, the amount of errors, warnings, information, the amount of past messages. So keep in mind that this is just it's not one message per document. You can have multiple messages per document, and let's take a look at those and see what those are. So as you can see, it's going to give me a list of all the files. I'm going to have multiple pages because there were 99 documents. So obviously it's 4 pages if they're 25 per page. And you can set it however many depth you want to see, how many documents you want to see at once. Now within here is giving me just an overall view of what it found. The document itself, the file name, the type of document, whether it had any passing messages, informational warnings, errors, etc., just informational ones. If you wanted to look at the metadata for these documents, so for example, if I want to look at this document, it's going to show me the location of where that document was found, the website, the URL, and the file name. I can also actually take a look at that document itself. So if I look at that document and pull it up, and it'll provide details about that one specific document. And again, it gives me the validation report, all those details. At this point, I have the ability to actually download the document itself, or I can save the validation report, which is a URL of where this report is located. Now, it gives you, again, the summary of information that it found within that document. As you can see, I have errors on my alternate text. I can look at those, and it'll expand on what those messages are or what it found on that document itself. For the document properties, it's pretty much the same thing. It only found a couple of warnings. And for the document structure, this is where it's going to tell me where it's lacking in terms of Section 508, PDF UA, or WCAG. So it'll provide those messages and details about what it has found for this document. And as you can see, this is this is a Word document. It's a .docx, so this is not going to provide any PDF UA or WCAG information. That's why it's telling you about the Section 508 and the details for this one particular Word document. If I go back into the list, and you can see, I can rearrange them in whichever order I want. I can do it by file name, or I can do it by amount of errors. So for example, if I want to see one of the ones with the most amount of errors, this is a PDF document. And if I take a look at this one, same settings, you have the overall information for, oh, that wasn't, I thought that was a PDF, but it's a PowerPoint. I actually wanted to pull up a PDF because I want to show you some of the options there. There we go. So let's take a look at this PDF. And same amount of information, not same amount, but same type of information. When I go to my document structure, this is what I wanted to show you. This is giving you the results for best practice, PDF UA, and WCAG, the results for all of those. Okay. Now, once you've got a list of those documents, you can either choose to send them all for remediation. So I can select all of them and I can send them for remediation at that point, or I can actually choose individual documents. So I'm going to choose a PowerPoint here, an EPUB, and a PDF. I'm going to say they're marked for files for remediation. That means that they have been added to the section where these can be submitted for remediation to make them compliant. Once you've done that, you can actually look at the remediation list. And I've submitted some files previously, which are going to be sitting there. And as you can see, those are there, but also the ones that I've just added now. At this point, what I have the ability to do is I can select whichever ones I'm actually going to submit for remediation. And from here, this would tie into whatever process your organization has set up to remediate these documents. Now, it can be an internal process where these will be sent immediately to an internal department, or they can be sent to, maybe you have a workflow that is monitoring for specific files or different types of files to not make them accessible, or it can even go to a service organization that is expecting your files, or anybody that you're outsourcing your documents to be made accessible. And this is where it would tie in. After you've selected these documents, you would then submit them. You will notice that I don't have a submit button because that hasn't been set up for this particular workflow, but this is where you would tie it in. This is once you've had those documents that would be submitted, and then that's how you would make this content accessible. If I look at the scheduled scans, you'll notice that it's the same settings as I was showing you before. So you have the audit details, and you can explore the individual documents, etc. So it's the same type of settings, but in a nutshell, this is how it works. It gives you the ability to scan your documents or scan your website, be able to do one-offs for scanning those websites, making sure that you have a periodic scheduled scan to make sure that your website is kept in an accessible format with your content, and be able to submit documents for remediation. And once those get back, you'd have the ability to replace the ones that are not accessible. Thank you very much.